friends, welcome to CEC Gurukul live lectures. Dear friends, this is our another session on career counseling called Pratibha Sambardhan, and today we are going to talk on one of the most interesting topics. You might be well known about why your personalities are very important and how you can work on your personalities, because your personalities will automatically help you out in finding a good career, as well as it will help you out in sustaining in that particular career. So friends, for this discussion on the topic, that is career growth through personality development, we have with us in our studios Miss Mansi Nagpal. Miss Mansi Nagpal is a profile building counselor as well as a personality development trainer, and she is working with the Jitin Chawla Center for Career and Development. So friends, let's welcome our guest Miss Mansi Nagpal, and let's try to understand how one can work on himself or herself, and how one can walk on the widest road and find the destination for what one is craving. So let's welcome our guest, Miss Mansi. Hello, Miss Mansi. Welcome to the session of
Thank you so much.
And today is one of the most important and interesting topics, because one's personality is the most important thing, because if you have a good personality, it means you are going to grow.
Absolutely.
But now the question arises, how one can grow and how one can work on the personality, because that is the most important thing.
Absolutely.
Everybody is not born with a silver spoon. Everybody's
Exactly.
environment, everybody's way of thinking is different. But when we go in the outside world, specifically after passing our schools or passing our graduation or completing a graduation, when we see the world around, we then believe and try to find out, and we are acquainted with how the world is, and
Exactly.
do we actually fit in or not. So all to you.
Yes. So, we have these conversations around careers, what different careers to pick, what different careers to choose. So I thought, like, for today's session, we need to discuss about our own self, because when we are on this path of career exploration, it is very important that we're also sort of learning about ourselves. If, let's say, I don't know what are my strengths, what is something that I'm good at, then obviously I'll not be able to choose a career that is in alignment with my strengths. So this topic came to my mind, especially, because we have a lot of students in our center who kind of visit us, and they visit us after doing masters. Let's say they did their bachelor's and their masters in engineering. Because, when we kind of grow up in sort of our culture, there are like just few careers which we are just told that these are the ones, these are good careers. Your doctors, your engineers, teachers, lawyers. So all of these careers, these students sort of, listen while growing up. So they kind of decide ki haan, hame to yahi karna hai. And then when they actually complete their education, because the education is also sometimes such that you do not get enough exposure. So when they complete their education and they land a job, while doing the job, they realize that they're actually not fit for this career role. And then they kind of come and then they want to switch careers. It happens a lot. That's why it is very, very, very essential that we sort of start with our self-exploration, our personality development right from the beginning, so that we're able to make better and wise career choices. So there are two things that is very important why we need to explore ourselves before we kind of choose a career. The first bit, obviously, I told that, people are not aware of what the career holds, what are their strengths, and if, their strengths are matching their careers. The second thing is that today in a lot of MNCs, a lot of big companies are not looking, just looking for individuals who are good at the technical aspect. They are also looking for a person with a well-rounded personality. Now, when I say well-rounded personality, what do I mean? I mean a person who is able to communicate well, a person who has his own personality, brings his own opinions forward, a person who can, interact with people, have certain hobbies. So that is the kind of person that these companies are looking for. But for some reason, we are not able to deliver that. Why it happens is because we kind of are in a race where we are kind of striving for the best college, we are striving for the best degree, what big degree will give us the best packages. But in all of this, we sort of forget to kind of explore our own self. That is why we are here for. So today, I'll be explaining what self-awareness is, how we can do that, how we can explore ourselves, and then what are the ways that we can finally, after our exploration, work on those strengths and build up a career for ourselves. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about was self-awareness. So now when we say self-awareness, we mean that it is the conscious knowledge of one's characters, feelings, motives and desires. When I say conscious, conscious is something that you know about it. है ना? So whatever you think that your characters are, your strengths are, your desires are, is what will constitute your self-awareness. So when I'm training a lot of students under me for job interviews, the first question that any organization, any HR personnel will ask you is to introduce yourself. And you will be very surprised to know that a lot of people struggle with this one question. I mean, you have done your masters, but you're not able to introduce yourself with something which kind of was like, oh my god, we need to work on it. So this introduction part where you know what your personality is, what are your hobbies, what are the things that you're interested in. So for personality, what you can do is, first of all, there are a lot of tests available online. Personality tests, these are psychometric tests. So when we do career assessment tests as well, we kind of measure your aptitude and we are also measuring your personality. Aptitude, we know how it's measured. For personality, you have MBTI, you can search it online, you can give the test, it has 16 types of personality, and then you will know what is your personality type. Then we have NEO-FFI as well. It is a test which kind of judges your personality on 5 traits. The first trait is openness to experience. How open are you to different experiences in your life? Are you somebody who likes to go out? Are you meet new people, have different experiences? Or you're somebody who like to do the usual stuff? That I know that I'm good at this. I know that this is the restaurant I go to and this is my favorite dish. So you're a person who's not that open to experience. But if you're a person who is going out, when you're ordering food, you want to try something different. So you are open to experiences. Then we have conscientiousness. This is something which, how detail oriented are you, right? So when you're doing a work, are you somebody who is a bit of a perfectionist? You're looking at details, you want every little thing to be perfect. Then you're somebody who is conscientious. If you are not, then you are somebody who looks at the bigger picture. You're not really bothered about the small things. Then we have extroversion and introversion. This is something that everybody know. An extrovert is a person who kind of likes to be around people, kind of gets recharged when he's around people, and an introvert person is somebody who can obviously be around people but wants to have a recharge time on its own. A lot of people confuse introvertness to shyness or social anxiety, but these are two different things. When you're an introvert, you're somebody who can easily talk to people, but you rather prefer be at home or you need your downtime. If you're somebody who is very shy, then you would not be able to even talk to people. So these are things that people usually confuse, and I wanted to clear that up. Then we have agreeableness. Are you somebody who gets who is very persuasive, that you can persuade other people, or you're somebody who gets easily pursued by other people? And then the last one is neuroticness. It is about how you want everything if you want everything according to your needs, then you're somebody who is highly neurotic. And if you are somebody who kind of is okay with other people taking the charge, then you are somebody who is not towards that trend. So these are the 5 characters traits that the NEO-FFI judges itself through. So you can take these MBTI test and NEO-FFI test to know your personality a bit better. Now, when coming back to self-awareness, we have 2 components of self-awareness. The first one is internal self-awareness, the other is the external self-awareness. When we are talking about internal self-awareness, it's the same thing that I mentioned. It's about knowing your personality, knowing what are the values that you keep deep with yourself, your aspirations and your reactions. Then on the other hand, external self-awareness is realizing how other people are sort of perceiving you. Now this is a very tricky one, because you might, if you kind of are very externally self-aware, then you might get social anxiety that other people are judging you, but we do not want to go down that road. We just want a little idea of how we are being perceived by other people as well. Now, we discussed about personality, we discussed about self-awareness. Now, how it actually helps with your career development. The first thing is aligning your career choices. So, as I mentioned in these personality tests, extroversion and introversion, if you are somebody who kind of, is a kind of like an extroverted personality, then you would obviously prefer a career in which you have to interact with a lot of people. If you're an introvert and I give you a career where you have to interact with a lot of people, it's a media related career, then obviously you will not be able to perform good in that. So understanding that is also very, very crucial. Then enhancing leadership abilities. Now whatever career that you choose, you will eventually be at the top, right? You would want to be the expert, so you will eventually lead people in that. So now when you're leading a person, nobody wants to be led by somebody who is himself or herself is not aware of who they are, right? So understanding yourself, and then you will be able to better guide other people as well. And then improving communication. Now a lot of people get very confused at how will me being aware about myself improve my communication skills. But you have to realize that at its core, communication is what? Communication is when you're sharing a part of yourself, a part of your thoughts, a part of what you think to other people. So if you are yourself not sure about it, if you're yourself not very concrete on those ideas, how will you be able to communicate them? So in order to have effective communication as well, you need to have a strong hold about your values, what you want to talk about, what are the things that you're really passionate about. So these are the kind of pointers I wanted to highlight for you to understand how important it is that, you know, we go through this topic together and we kind of slowly learn, because the idea of getting to know yourself can seem so daunting, which is why I'm going to break this into very, very smaller parts so that we can pick and choose and then set smaller goals for ourselves which we can eventually achieve, because it is not a one-time thing. It is an ongoing process that will keep on happening, right? It will happen all throughout your life. So when we are talking about finally sitting down and exploring ourselves, exploring what we stand for and what our interests are, so that we can make a wiser career decision, it is about, it is a most profound and rewarding experience. It is just not about learning what are my preferences, but also uncovering your beliefs that you will hold for the rest of your life, understanding your emotional and psychological needs. Self-exploration is about gaining a deeper connection with yourself and allowing you to live authentically and purposely. So in this way, you will also lead a life which is much more satisfactory, right? So now how can we do these things? So first thing is you need to understand your values. I have repeated this word a lot of times. So people confuse when we say values, they think of moral values. But it actually means how we want to live our life. Are we somebody who is a family oriented person, or are we a person who kind of values their independence more? Are you somebody who likes to live a fancy life? Are you somebody who likes to save up a lot? Are you somebody who is very outgoing, would like to explore different things and travel all around the world? Or are you somebody who would like to stick at one place, have a structure to their life and have security? So understanding all of these things would come under your values. Now how do you kind of cultivate that? Sit with yourself and ask, what do I stand for? What are the principles I hold dear? What is the kind of life that I want to live? So we start from there and then we structure it back. Then we are going in reverse and then we making a decision according to all of the things that we want to achieve in our life. Then the second aspect is exploring your passion. Now passion is something which is, I feel, a very overhyped word these days, but is actually something which is very, very interesting to think about. Now, you know, a lot of people are very, just good at something just by itself. They don't have to put in a lot of work. Some people I know, some of my students are so academically bright that they would just study for like a half an hour for their exam and then they would ace it. And like some other of my students, they would study for like hours and hours and hours and still not be able to perform as much as they are. So this is the thing, it's called the innate talent of an individual, right? What drives you? While on the other hand, some people you will see are very, very easygoing with people. They'll just interact with them very, very quickly. But on the other hand, some people have a very hard time, no matter how many classes they take, no matter how much they work on it. So identifying these things which you are naturally good at is a smart move to make towards your career. So sit down with yourself and just jot down the things that you think that you were able just in the last week were able to do seamlessly, and the things that took time for you. And while doing it, how did you feel? Did you feel good about them? What was your general emotional response to those things? Then the third aspect is examining your strengths and your weaknesses. Now, there is a quick, it's a quick and a fun activity both, how we can examine our strengths and weaknesses. It's called SWOT analysis. Now in SWOT analysis, what we do is we kind of jot down our strengths, our weaknesses, our opportunities and our threats. So what it is very thing that what is the difference between strengths and opportunities? It sounds like the same thing, but there is. So strengths are our characters which can help us, right, which we good at. So it's our own character strengths, while opportunities are external, what is around you that can help you and you can leverage that bit. Similarly, weakness is some character thing that you think that you may need to work on, and your threat would be some outside circumstances that you think might become an obstacle in your journey. So jot down what are your strengths. Strengths could be that you are good at studying. You are somebody who is good at time management. You can manage your time well. Similarly, your weakness could be that you sometimes get carried away and you are easily distracted. Opportunities can be your parents giving you financial support, you having a good school to go to where you have a lot of opportunities to learn from. And threats could be, let's say, some individual in your life who kind of pulls you down, or another maybe you are going through a financial crisis in your house, that could be a threat. So while writing these things down, why we are doing that? So that it is written on paper and then we can actually plan that how we can leverage our strengths and opportunities and how we can actually work through our threats and the weaknesses that we have. Then then when we are going through this discovering self, our strengths and weaknesses, we can also write down the areas where we are naturally good at, what challenges do we face and how we can possibly overcome them, and how you can leverage your strengths to the maximum capacity. Then the fourth thing is paying attention to your emotions. Now when we are talking about emotions, I feel like these are the aspects which are the most neglected. We kind of neglect our emotions a lot, but they actually are hidden messages that our body is sending to ourselves regarding the external situation. Similarly, these are also hidden messages that the other person is conveying to you. So knowing your own emotions and also knowing the emotions of the other person. It is called emotional intelligence. So having a high EQ is also something which is very, very desirable. So know what you are feeling, right, and jot them down. You can do this fun activity where you can keep an emotional journal for a week and you will note down all the emotions that you feel throughout the day. Reflect what are the things that triggered those emotions and how you can react to them maybe a little better. A lot of times we kind of go through our day and we don't know why we were so irritated the entire day. And we feel like this, irritation comes and goes. But if you actually make this emotional journal for yourself and you write down every time you did not feel good or every time you felt good, you'll actually be able to highlight patterns that, okay, these are the things that are making me, trigger, or these are the things that are making me pacify. So according to that, we can plan our things. Then reflecting on your life choices. I think as a student this is a little bit much, but still, if you've made any decisions, maybe your career choice, that I said that a lot of people just go through the careers and they do not really sit with them, so just choose a career because other people are saying so, or this is their brothers or sisters excelled in that careers and are doing well, so they just took that decision to also pursue that. So reflecting on those choices, that why did you make that choice and where it could have, you would have taken a step back, or how we can kind of, make sure that it's not happening again. So you can write down the choices that you regret, why, and what decisions in your life have actually impacted you the most. Writing down those impactful decisions in your life can actually set a narrative, which is a very good thing. Then the thing is about listening to your inner voice. Now inner voice, something sounds very typical to say that, but it's actually talking about your gut feeling. So when we are talking in psychological terms, gut feeling refers to the fact that when you're connected to your body, right, there's our brain working. People always say that you're supposed to listen to your heart. And when we are saying listen to your heart, we are actually saying listen to your gut feeling or your instinct. Your instinct is a very good driving factor in making career choices, because instinct is solely based on knowledge which is conscious to you as well as it is unconscious to you as well. So all of learning to trust and to listen to your intuition can guide you towards authentic experience and decisions. And how you can actually sort of learn to recognize your gut feeling is you spend some quiet time with yourself, practice solitude or even meditation for that sake. What happens is that now when you are meditating, you are solely connected to your body. You are not getting distracted by the external things. So you are more in touch with your body, which is why you will be able to listen to that gut feeling more. And then obviously, you know, when we're talking about self-exploration, you have to engage in new experiences, because if you're just going to sit at your home and in your room, you will obviously not have new experiences. When you go out, you do different things, you highlight and you figure out parts of yourself that you did not know that they existed. It's only when you put yourself in uncomfortable situations that you're able to uncover some things about you, and the new personality traits, you know, that you did not know that they exist will shine through. So you might discover hidden strengths or unspoken fears. Traveling to new places, trying new activities, meeting new people, these is always a good idea to go about it, and which also actually polish your personality as well. Because the more you put yourself out there in very anxiety, some situations can be very anxiety provoking, and we kind of distance ourselves or avoid those, but to be able to confront them will actually even help with working our anxiety through. So an exercise in this thing could be trying something new every month. You can maybe pick a hobby that you will actually go through with. You will not just pick and just drop it in a few days, but making sure that you're going through it. So consistency is also a big thing and a big driving force here. Then the another point is a very tricky one, is seeking feedback from other people. Sometimes it can be very triggering as well. So make sure you're only reaching out to people who you trust and you know that they genuinely sort of, you know, have care towards you. So taking feedback from other people, because a lot of times we don't even know that, you know, these are the things about us, but other people who actually spend a lot of time with us can actually figure out those things as well. So they might offer you new perspectives on your strengths, how you affect how your personality sort of affect around you, and areas for growth. You can also take constructive criticism. Make sure that you're open with it and you're not getting very defensive. So these are the pointers that you can keep in your mind. Some of the questions that you can actually ask these people is, what do you think, what do they think about yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses, and you know, how do you come across in social situations and stuff like that. Then while going through these things, you have to realize that your personality is a dynamic thing. Okay, it will always change. It will never be stagnant. It keeps on changing. So you have to embrace the change that is coming in your personality, as well as you have to embrace the change that is coming in your situations as well, because your situations will also not remain the same. You go from school to college to your workplace, you will have a lot of different situations that you might not like, but to be able to embrace that change and, you know, adapt through it is something which is a key thing. And the last thing is to cultivate self-compassion. So whenever you're going through this journey of self-exploration and you're asking other people and you're doing new things, you might realize some things that you're actually not good at, but that is completely normal. As a human being, you will be good at few things and you will not be good at few things. So having that outlook of self-compassion where you're being kind to yourself, you know, just react in a similar way as you would your loved one. So treat yourself with a lot of self-love, a lot of kindness. Be gentle with yourself as you navigate this. So yeah.
So we would like to thank you, Ms. Mansi, for making things so simpler as well as clear.
Absolutely.
And in a very effective manner. You explained how one can work on himself or herself, and how one can simplify the things. We have this tendency of making the things, you know,
Overly complicated.
Exactly. So we always feel our situations are not correct, the things are not fine with us, or I can't do this, this is impossible for me. But we never try to think about how we can work on it, how things can be made simpler. So it was one of the simpler way of explaining the things by you. And we believe to have more sessions with you, and we believe to learn more from you, so that the students could have a clear path ahead. Thank you for giving us this session. And dear friends, we believe that you might have gathered a lot of information. In fact, I believe that you might be motivated, and your instincts to learn will definitely help you out in achieving what you actually want in life. So keep watching us, keep writing us. Your feedbacks are very important for us. Thank you.